he drink in the morning?
He's doing a Biden imitation.
And like I said, it's on live, by the way. Good morning, everybody. It always happens, no fail. Today we have a special guest. Oh, by the way, this does work. I just have a stunt double doing the sound for the hog. Ready? I'm going to squeeze it. See, what, again? Wow, amazing. Thank you, stunt double Bruce Lasner. Okay, there, you got a little plug. Welcome everybody and everybody here in the studio audience and online as well. This is SPI, this particular meeting, Sarah and Paul International, because one of us is born overseas. You already guys can guess which one it is, but you online, see if you can guess which one of us, Sarah and I, are born overseas. We meet every Wednesday for the past year and a half. I think it'll be almost 2 years. This October would be the 2-year mark. And we also have a total of almost 21 free events across Palm Beach County, from West Palm Beach to Delray Beach, including the third Thursday of the month coming up at 2J's Breakfast in Wellington. So if you can't make Wednesdays, there's the third Thursday in Wellington at 2J's for breakfast, also 8 o'clock in the morning. And every Tuesday at 8 o'clock on Zoom. And all those events are now listed on Alignable. That's what's brand new. You probably never saw that before. So when you sign into Alignable on your app, you're going to do this regularly so you never forget your password ever again. Right, Marty? Okay. He's still waiting for his password to come in also. So if you do password forget, don't worry. You can put your email in and then wait for your password. Does everybody know that new technique, how you wait for your password so it comes in faster? You climb a large mountain. You sit on it, you put your mouth open, and you wait for roast duck to fly in. And then you'll have your password. Okay. He who waits, it takes a long time. Okay, we have time limited, but we have less than 10 people, so they're letting me talk and use up my mouth, so I'll be tired and I can sleep while you guys are talking. We have 3 parts to our meeting. We have introductions, but 1 to 2 minutes. And we have the hog, so that we prevent you from hogging the time while building all of our wealth and your wealth. Then we have a 10-minute feature presentation by our special guest, Sheree White, an enrolled agent you'll want to hear. So stay tuned if you're online. You're going to hear every word. Get on the edge of your seat. Take notes. And then we'll have 10-second feedback where everybody in the room is going to tell me what they loved about the meeting and what they hated about the meeting. Hopefully nothing. And they loved it, and they want to come back next Wednesday or come back on Tuesday for Bruce and Sheree's networking for business, etc. Today's meeting, though, we're starting with our 10-minute feature first. Why is that? Because sometimes when you do the introductions in the beginning, people show up late. Is anybody here? So, no. And because of that, we do the 10-minute feature first sometimes so that nobody misses any part of the introductions. They don't have to miss the beginning because we record and stream it for your business benefit for a little bit of promotion. Doesn't cost anything as well. And our meeting is completely free too. So let's get our meeting underway. Let me tell you a little bit about Sheree White. Well, first of all, I first met Sheree White, and she remembers exactly what I look like. I remember exactly what she looked like when I was an intern at St. Thomas Aquinas College doing my business major in Sparkle, New York, in Rockland County. I was doing an internship every Wednesday. It was probably this time, 8 to 9 o'clock. What a coincidence. And in New City, New York, I did this internship. And I first met Sheree there, but I had no idea it was Sheree White. But we found out while we were doing our one-to-ones or during our meeting, it just came out. And if you come at least 3 times, that's when I encourage you to use and get to know and know, like, and trust other small business owners and entrepreneurs. Because if you just come once and you hear somebody give their commercial, it sounds like Crazy Eddie. Who's Crazy Eddie? Look it up on Google if you're too young. It sounds like a commercial, which sounds like an elevator pitch. And Bruce, that sounds like, I know, a screaming salesperson. So we have educational nuggets here where you talk for 2 minutes and educate us about what you do. Not that you can save us and guarantee us $10,000 on the first visit and all these kind of wacky deals. If you can do that, great, but get to know us. I think that's probably a great idea. What do you guys think? Is that a great idea?
Yeah.
Okay,
Good
so
idea.
without further ado, I knew Sheree back when, I won't say how many years, but it's probably over 3 decades. So add whatever age we were then and add 30 on top of it, and then you get our real ages. So if you guys are good at math, grab out your calculators. What else? I know Sheree's been busy doing taxes. She learned from her family and father, and she's pretty well versed in doing taxes, and I'm sure she's going to give us and dazzle us with lots of information. Let me present to you Sheree White.
Well, thank you. Whether or not, I didn't even start yet.
He's applauding you.
Oh, okay. Whether or not I'm going to dazzle you is going to be your opinion. But what I'd like to talk about today is the Dirty Dozen. Not the 1967 movie, The Dirty Dozen, but the Dirty Dozen that the IRS puts out every year in April-ish, to tell us, to alert us to the largest scams, the biggest troublemakers for us, both as taxpayers and as tax professionals. Since I only have 10 minutes, I'm not gonna try to do all 12, but I picked a few that I thought would be relevant.
I'll donate 2 minutes to you.
I still don't think I'm gonna be able to do all 12.
Okay.
I'd have to talk too fast.
Okay.
So I picked a few that I thought would be relevant. And the first one I want to talk about is tax advice on social media. And the funny thing was, when I saw that, I was thinking, okay, so now that means I really can't use Facebook to open the door to new potential clients, because that's how I would do it, by giving tax advice. The problem is, what the IRS is warning about is not people like me who have spent a lot of time learning and take a lot of continuing education every year so that we're up on what is legitimate, and we have ethical responsibilities to our clients. It's all part of being an enrolled agent. But the IRS is warning us about bad tax information on social media in general. And when I saw that, it reminded me of a session that I went to a couple of years ago at the IRS tax forum, and it was called "It's Deductible, My Barber Said So." We're always getting tax advice from people that they know, that think they know, but it's usually not accurate. And what's coming out on social media, particularly on TikTok, are these wild ideas of things that you can do to increase your refund, to change your W-2, to use tax forms that are not commonly used, like the Schedule H, which is for people who have household employees. And that's to be able to pay in their taxes, payroll taxes. And what they use the Schedule H for is to try to claim a credit for money they actually didn't pay out for the family leave that they supposedly gave their employees. So that's just one kind of thing that they're encouraged to do. It's an easy way for scammers to encourage people to pursue really bad ideas, including magical ways to increase your tax refund. How many people have seen the signs on the side of the road that say, we can give you, for one child, you get this much money, for 2 children, you get this much money. They're talking about earned income credit. And there are a lot of tax people who will just give you put your kids on the return, or the kids they give you on the return without exploring further to make sure you are allowed to deduct them. So sometimes it's between the tax person and the taxpayer, and sometimes the taxpayer doesn't even realize what's going on.
Should we hold our questions to the end?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So that's one. There are many ways of getting good information, like knowing who you can trust. Also, the IRS posts good information on social media, at IRS News. If you look up at IRS News, you'll be able to get some good information. Another one of the dirty dozen is ghost tax preparers. All right. These are pop-up people. I talk about how there's a low threshold to be able to get in to the tax preparation business. $19 to get a preparer tax identification number. And that's it. That's all the IRS asks, as long as you're not a felon. So there are people who will do this, and what they do is they charge a large percentage of the refund that they say they're going to get you, which technically they're not allowed to do. So if somebody tries to charge you a percentage of your refund, run as fast as you can in the opposite direction. Or sometimes they'll even steal the entire refund by saying, I need to put it into this account, and then it'll get transferred to your account. And the only time that should happen is if you're actually paying for your fees out of your refund and you're doing it through a reputable company. It should not be through the tax preparer. We don't have access to being able to do that individually. We may work with companies that do it, but we can't do it ourselves. And then what happens is they're stealing your identification information. They're getting you a large refund, which you probably won't even get. Because once the return is filed, they disappear. And that leaves you to deal with the consequences of the IRS. Because technically you would have filed a fraudulent return. These ghost preparers tend to prey on seniors and the underserved communities, enticing them with bigger refunds, including bogus tax credits, similar to what I talked about before. And also, they don't sign the return. They, most of the time, I've seen these returns, and I've looked at, because people have come to us with problems as a result of these returns. And they all say self-prepared, and I said, but you told me you went to somebody to prepare your tax return. I did, and I paid them X. And according to the IRS, it's a self-prepared return. So there isn't even really a tax preparer that you can complain to the IRS about because you don't have their information to do that. So what the IRS recommends, and I do too, under those circumstances, is to go onto the IRS website. They have a directory of federal tax return preparers with credentials and select qualifications. That's actually what the directory is called. So that's what you can search for on the IRS's website. And from there, you can choose the best fit because you can narrow it down by zip code, and you can narrow it down by the kind of credentials you're looking for. Are you looking for a CPA? Are you looking for an enrolled agent? Are you looking for a tax attorney? Or does it not matter to you? All of the people that are on this list have some kind of credentials. The next one I would like to talk about is these offer and compromise mills that we hear advertised on the radio and on television. They promise they can settle your tax debt for pennies on the dollar. Rarely does that happen, that it's pennies on the dollar. There is a program that's a legitimate program, and they have qualifications to be part of the program, but not everybody qualifies. People who just say, I can't pay my tax, they may not qualify for this program. These offer and compromise mills, and we call them that, the IRS calls them that, because they put people through the process, submit offers in compromise, which means they're trying to settle the tax debt for less than the original value, without solid grounds for doing it. They charge steep fees and they set expectations that your tax debt can magically disappear. Now, I do tax resolution, which is what this is called. I do offer a compromise for clients, but when I sit down with a new client or a new potential client who's concerned about the tax debt and the fact that they think they can't pay, I tell them there are steps we need to go through to determine if you qualify. And there actually is a offer and compromise qualifier tool on the IRS's website. So if you think you might qualify, you have tax debt and you feel you can't pay it, you can go onto the IRS's website, search for their qualifier tool, and see if you might be a candidate before you start spending a lot of money, only to find out that they did something that just isn't going to work out in your favor. Like I said, the program is legitimate, but it's not for everyone. And it's a valuable program who helps people who really can't afford to pay their federal tax debt, or for whom paying it would cause a hardship. Another one is helpful scammers, and I put helpful in quotes, because what they're doing is they're offering to help us or you set up an online account with the IRS. Now, the IRS does have an online account at irs.gov. You can go right onto irs.gov and set it up, and if somebody contacts you and says, I can help you do that, I would recommend, unless you know them, that you not have them help you, because in order to do the process, it's not hard to do, to set up the account. But again, this is a place where they prey on seniors who may have limited computer skills, and they say, oh, I can help you do this, especially now that the program requires you to use ID.me, which is an extra step. But because of that, they're getting tax information. Whoever's helping you, they're getting your social security number and things like that. And once they have that, they can go into the site that they helped you set up, because they can hack around the ID.me part, and they can get information that could be helpful for them to steal your identity and file tax returns. Because what the online tool provides, the online account provides, is you can go in there and you can look at previous year's tax information. You can look at, if you owe money to the IRS, how much you still owe. You can set up a payment arrangement with the IRS. So there's a lot of information available in there. Valuable to identity thieves to use it to submit fraudulent tax returns in the victims' names to get really big refunds, and obviously the victims don't get it. So be wary of unexpected reach outs from the IRS, who will never offer to help you set up an online account. And I actually tried to help a client set up an online account, and we had trouble doing it because of the ID.me part. But I never had him give me the information. I just guided him through how he should be entering it.
Our members here today, they paid a lot of money to be here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 people here, including yourself, 7.
Yes.
Are you able to help get everybody here a refund for their money that they spent today to listen to you?
Well, that they have to take up with you. If they don't like what I have to say, that refund they have to take up with you. But I thought you send out bills and then you don't follow up for payment. 0 bills, by the way.
How's that for customer service?
That's good.
Wait, is customer service good if you don't send someone a bill but have no contact? They're happy, so they should appreciate the no contact.
Well, I think having contact is better customer service.
Aha. You're interrupting. Well, actually, I'm not interrupting because I donated two minutes.
I was gonna say my 10
and I
minutes.
donated an extra 2 minutes also beyond the 10 minutes, but I didn't want to call attention to that. But since you said it,
Well, you should have let me know.
So that's why I did this. And then
Well,
I did
thought you were
this.
just playing.
I thought
Did you
that.
think he was trying to let me know that I was done?
No.
I thought he was just playing.
So in that regard, I always do like on a good podcast at the end of my questions
Yes.
when we're online, I always ask the interviewee, do you have any last thoughts that you want to wrap up? And then let them speak. And you could tell us how you want to reach out to you. Any last thoughts? Go ahead.
All right. One quick last thought is the IRS will never contact you in any other way other than mail regarding a bill or a refund. So if anybody tries to contact you and say they're from the IRS any other way, hang up the phone. That's one last thought. And the second last thought is
Don't call me, Bruce.
I'm available to answer questions and for help. My name is Sheree White. My business is Business Services for You. And you can reach me by calling or texting 561-376-2564. That's 561-376-2564.
And of course, if you have any questions for Sheree, you could also come if you're not here on Saturday morning from 8 to 9.
Yes.
She'll be reviewing a different perspective or maybe the same perspective of this talk and some Q&A also virtually online, unalignable. But we have time for 1 or 2 questions if anybody has any. Don't hold your peace.
Either they were so bored. I covered the information thoroughly.
I don't think she bored us at all. She captures our attention. And we're going to go into the introduction part of our meeting where we get to hear from the other businesses that are here in person. So if you want to tell your educational nugget, please come and do that. We'll hear 5 of them today, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But before we do that, I have one little thing I'm going to sneak in for today's meeting. I just need this chair here and this chair here. And Sheree, pick a number between 1 and 3.
2.
Patrick, pick a number between 1 and 3. 1. Marty, pick a number between 1 and 3.
3.
Lynn, pick a number between 1 and 3.
2.
Okay, great. Lynn, sit in this chair. I'm putting you guys on the spot. I hope you don't mind. You're business people. You like the publicity, you like the PR, and you like Paul's fun. If you're going along with it, thank you. And Sheree, since you picked 2, I don't have to go to Bruce and myself and Sarah. You sit in this chair over here. Since you're not going to play a different role than our speaker, are you able to swivel over to that chair? Pretty good. Okay, good. Excellent. And now you're going to face Lynn. And you are going to pretend that between Wednesday to Wednesday that the 2 of you are in a 1-to-1, and you have 7 minutes to get acquainted and show us as a great example, how do you do a first 1-to-1 meeting where pretend you don't know each other, what you might do. Maybe you might use an acronym called FORM, which is Family, Occupation, Recreation, Money. And sometimes people use that in order as a way to get to know each other. And this is a good suggestion.
Never heard that before.
I think that what would people do to get to know each other without trying to propose on the first date that daters do? But what do small business people do or entrepreneurs when they're meeting a new business person? Because I think there's some rookies that are brand new in business, whether they're 20 years old or 60 or 80. We don't want to leave anybody out because there's all kinds of people getting into business, including Colonel Sanders, Kentucky Fried Chicken, started that business at 65 years old when he got his first Social Security check. So the clock is started. Go. Show us a one-to-one.
Well, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And how are you?
And that's nice. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you. I don't know what you were trying to do. I'm sorry, what was
I
that?
said it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And,
Yes, it is.
And what brings you here?
I was looking to meet some other people that I could network with for business.
Okay.
How about you?
Same reasoning. I just wanted to share good health with people because that's so important. And no matter what you do, you've got to be healthy in order to do it.
That is so true. That is so true. So if you're looking to share health, are you a doctor?
Unfortunately not, but I am a person who has a product that provides, it builds your immunity system and helps you get through any challenges that you might have and or improve them.
Interesting. What kind of product is it?
It's basically fruits and vegetables in capsule form, which is basically food. And you get the opportunity of having 12 fruits and vegetables on a daily basis without the sugar and the salt. And it gives you the opportunity of building your diet. And it helped me lose 126 pounds without trying over a 3-year period.
Wow.
Because it filled me up and built me and improved my health. And my mom, who lived with me, went from, 12 pills or 12 mid to 2. And she improved in her health and lived to be 93.
Wow.
And the only change we made in her life was putting her on Juice Plus. And that's the name of the product.
I've heard of Juice Plus.
It is something that would get you through all tax season.
My husband has a product that gets me through tax season.
Okay.
It's an energy drink without the caffeine.
Well, we have a shake as well, and we have a protein bar that gets you through during you can't eat. You can have one of those, and it keeps you going.
Could I interrupt a little bit?
Yeah.
Could you guys tell me, are you guys from Florida or what state are you from?
He's getting into the personal stuff.
Well, the location. Are you guys from Florida? Because I don't know where you're from yet. I just met you today.
Well,
You guys met each other today.
Right, that's true. I'm originally from New York.
So am I.
Where?
In Queens, Sunnyside.
I was born in the Bronx and grew up in Rockland County.
Now we're going to hear where they went to high school.
Nah, because
No?
she
Too
went,
far back.
She went to high school in Queens, and I went to high school in Rockland County.
Right. So they don't really know. We don't know much about the city, and we're from upstate a little. Well, not upstate, right?
That's right. Rockland County is not upstate. I mean, I know a little bit about Queens, but not a lot. When did you come to Florida?
Oh, gosh, it's got to be about 25 years ago.
I moved here 22 years ago this month.
Congratulations.
Yep, still in the same house.
Oh, that's amazing.
I know, because before I moved to Florida, my mother had made a comment that she learned that after she moved to Florida, that people only stay in their houses 7 years, because when it's ready for a painting, it's time to move. But she didn't do that either.
Okay.
She stayed in her house until she passed. which was also 20 some odd years. But yeah, I like my house, so that's why I'm still in it. It has served us well, and even though my kids tell me when I say, "Are you coming to visit?" Well, that's not my house.
I see that both of you look very strong. Did you always go to the gym or work outside, or do you have a home gym? Why don't you start, Lynn, and go to Sheree?
Okay.
Tell us about your workout experiences, or
basically-
gym, or walking. What do you do for fitness?
There is not that much that I do for fitness other than possibly house cleaning and working, walking around. But aside from that, basically at this point, I don't go to any gym or anything of that nature.
How about you, Sheree?
I used to, but now it's difficult for me to do that. So, and not because of taxes. It's physically difficult for me to do that. So I don't. It's walking around the house. It's doing what I did last week and spending 2 hours standing. I'm almost 2 hours standing on my feet without my walker. That's
Mhm.
exercise. I thought for sure the next day my legs were going to hurt me.
Well, sometimes just getting out of a chair and getting back in the chair is exercise.
That's exercise.
That
That's
counts.
All right, you want to call that exercise? That's my exercise.
So you guys just did family a little bit, occupation you talked about recreation. How about money? How important is money to you guys? How about Lynn, you go first and then Sheree.
Money is important to everyone as far as I'm concerned.
Business related and personal.
You need it. You need the ability to pay your bills. You need the ability to have the security of knowing that you're going to be able to do that. So yeah, it's important.
How about you, Sheree?
Well, I think money is important. Also, I think it's important to save for retirement so that you can have the security of knowing you'll be able to pay your bills, knowing you'll be able to do the things you want to do in your retirement.
Mhm.
It's important now because when you're trying to build a business, you need good cash flow. And shameless plug, I can help you keep more money in your pocket without doing any of those IRS scams.
And I'll let you get away with that plug too, because it's been over 7 minutes, I think. I wasn't tracking it completely religiously. But I just wanted you guys to see a great example to start us going of what you guys are doing and what everybody else is doing to suggest how we do a good one-on-one that doesn't go in for the jugular and sell us when we're catching up and saying, hey, I have this new product, or hey, I have this. And it's always like, and I have this great reverse mortgage, and I have this wonderful USANA pill. And if you take this, but I think we all know that the relationship is what really makes the difference, because being transactional is like a one-time thing. The IRS gets their check and they're done. They never contact us. But the relationship where we have a longer-term relationship, you become a friend and you have business friends. And do you think that that's important, Sheree?
I do. I think that there's what they call the know, like, and trust factor. And I won't refer somebody to somebody else. I won't refer a partner, I'll call them, to somebody else until I'm comfortable with the know, like, and trust factor. And most of the time, I have to use their product or services first before I'll refer them. Because then I can say to the person, I've got a great financial advisor for you. I use him. And it makes them more likely to connect. And the only thing, and the reason the know, like, and trust factor is important is because when I make a referral, it's my reputation on the line.
And do you have any last thoughts on that, Lynn? And I'll let you wrap up.
Well, basically, you have to have a confidence level in the person that you refer, because it is your reputation, as you stated. when you refer somebody. And if it turns out to be a bad situation or a bad mix, you know the person that you're referring from to the person you're referring to, and you have to understand that they will kind of mesh and know each other eventually.
And if the personalities don't
That's right.
connect, then that connection that you're trying to make isn't gonna happen.
That's right.
Now, if it was your first time meeting here today, you could exchange business cards, and between now and next Wednesday, you could decide to meet, or you can meet on Saturday virtually in another meeting like this. But obviously, the dynamic of a agenda meeting where we have a full
But I think
discussion.
that a one-on-one would probably be much more beneficial after meeting initially and then going to the meeting after that.
Okay,
Of
Yeah.
course, but you can't do the one-on-one until you meet at the
Well,
meeting.
no,
Right.
I'm talking about this, we've just done what we did, and then you get to talk to them one-on-one, at a coffee place or whatever.
right.
And then you go to another meeting,
Mm-hmm.
So you-
Exactly. What's that? Oh, Marty. Well, okay. We have one question from the audience, and then we're going to go into our educational nuggets, where now you're allowed to give us your best 1 minute elevator nugget, educational nugget.
Elevator.
Okay. So, Marty, go ahead and give us your one question, then we're going to wrap up our meeting with the rest of it.
I think the key element in the conversation.
Speak up louder, Sonny.
I think the conversation that they were having one-to-one, that they missed out on a couple of different things.
Of course.
One, I think, is that to get to know each other, what their background is. For me to work with other people, I want to know their background. I want to know where they came from, what they have done
Thank you.
in the past. To get to know them, to have confidence that I want to work with Pat by knowing Pat's background. As an example, I just read in the New York Post the other day that there was someone from Long Island that was in foreclosure, and they were in foreclosure for 17 years, based upon them playing a game of being in foreclosure. They did not own the house. Someone else had the house, and they were renting it. At the same time, they got out of it using the attorneys, moved down here, and I looked up their address. They're living at the Reserve in Boynton Beach, Florida. Now, those people in Florida, in the Reserve, did not look into the background of the people moving in. They paid all cash, but for 17 years, they lived in someone else's house that in Long Island they couldn't get out of because they kept on going from, their background. No one looked up their background. If I'm going to work with someone, I want to know their background. I want them to know my background.
So knowing your customer and knowing your vendor is pretty important.
As an example, people were supposed to interview these people and know what took place. They did not.
Thank you, Marty. And we're going to go into our educational nugget. We have a little bit of time, so we're going to start with Bruce over here. We're going to put a minute on the clock, and whoever has the best story, the best educational nugget is going to win a prize today. I call this the Bubamite prize. Doesn't mean what you're saying is a Bubamite, but what that means is my grandmother, if you're not Jewish, Bubamite is a Yiddish word for a made-up, crazy story. And that being said, I know that Bruce likes to tell jokes, but he also is serious at the same time. And the Bubamite prize, in honor of my grandmother, who said it to me growing up, and you're going to get a prize. It's nothing related to that, but it will be a wonderful prize. Action, Bruce.
Okay, I'm going to preface this by saying I'm looking at notes here because I'm always revising my 30-second or 1 minute introduction. So I'm looking at notes of something I revised, which is fine. Okay. So if I can show you how I help people create an automatic recurring income stream while improving their health, would you be open to learning more? That's all I have to say.
He doesn't even want to take the full minute. So thank you, Bruce. Let's go to the next one. There'll be a prize for the best one. And you're up, Lynn. 1 minute on the clock.
Well, I'm with Juice Plus, and that's basically fruits and vegetables in capsule or chewable format. And it allows you to get the nutrition you need on a daily basis. I have a question for everybody that's here today. How many of you had 12 different fruits and vegetables in one day and ate all of them? Well, by taking Juice Plus, you had, I can name the fruits and vegetables if you need it. But by taking Juice Plus, you get 12 fruits and vegetables on a daily basis without the sugar and the salt. And it also gives you the nutrition that you need. And it's only $1.82 a day. And you can't buy that in the grocery store, trust me. You can't buy an apple for $1.82 anymore. So I truly, truly wish that everyone would buy and take Juice Plus.
That was exactly a minute. It didn't give you a whole lot of time for the rest of your hook, but thank you for that, playing our game to try to win our prize today. And now, Sheree, you spoke, but you do, and you were our feature presentation. But now for the prize and for all the grand hoopla, however the expression is, you have 1 minute to try to win a prize. Go.
Have you ever asked the person who does your taxes what makes them qualified to do your taxes? If you think about what I said today in the presentation about ghost preparers, would you know if you were a victim of a ghost preparer? Have you looked at the bottom of your tax return where the signature of the preparer goes? These are all things to consider when you're figuring out who you're going to give your personal information to do your taxes. I'm Sheree White with Business Services for You. I talk to the IRS so you don't have to.
And next up is Sarah. You have 1 minute. Go.
How many of you are using the power of leverage? Believe it or not, if you think you haven't, I'm going to tell you that you have. Leverage. Have you ever owned a mortgage? Using few dollars to create many dollars. Life insurance, long-term care, it's all about leveraging. So if you'd like to learn more about how to leverage your money for your financial benefit, I'm Sarah Finkelstein with Signature Advisory Group.
She's still out of time, but that's the end of it. And next up, we have Patrick. 1 minute on the clock. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, action.
Good morning, Patrick Noon with Advantage Business Solutions. And my question is, of the $2.3 trillion that have been allotted for tax credits in the United States this year by federal, state, and local governments, how much money did your company receive last year? And how much money is your company going to receive this year back in tax credits? Pat Noon, Advantage Business Solutions.
And he didn't do it in a whole minute. He did it in less time. So if you guys are speaking way long or way less, here's an example that you can get your message out in short time. Marty, you have 1 minute. Go.
Marty Simmon, your reverse mortgage specialist. Did you know that the federal government guarantees a mortgage in reverse mortgage? They guarantee that mortgage payment, not the individual personally. This is gives the seniors the opportunity to use the equity in their home and take out the money used for home care, for handicap situations, renovation, and not have any mortgage payments the rest of their life, guaranteed by the federal government. Your reverse mortgage specialist. Very few people know about this, and yet it's been around for 40 years. And again, it's for the equity in their home. That's kosher pick.
I'm glad that you stopped within the minute so you qualify for the prize, because that's the whole key thing is those of you that go over a minute, what an amazing thing that if you're running a networking group all across North America that have a prize for the best educational moment, and that will incentivize people to get better with their educational nuggets and win a prize at the same time. And let's find out who the winner is. So I'm going to put a little halo over Bruce's head, and everybody clap if they think that he's the winner. Okay. And Bruce is even adding to it. Okay. And then here's a little halo over Lynn's head. Clap to see if you think she's the winner. And how about Sheree? Clap.
Now, he's not clapping.
And here's a little hand over Sarah's head. Clap if you think she's the winner. Okay, it's gonna be tough to judge. And how about Patrick? Do you think that Patrick is the winner? All right. And then we have this gentleman, Marty Stidman, reverse mortgage specialist. Clap if you think he's the winner. Oh, by the way, I didn't go myself, so maybe I should break the tie. So I'll tell you that I'm Paul Finkelstein with Primerica, and I just have one question. How many people here have ever heard of the rule of 72? Besides if you're licensed already in the business. Or ever were licensed in the business. Okay, how many people here besides Sarah thinks that they could explain the rule of 72 to me right now? Okay, go ahead.
Oh, me? Oh. Rule of 72 says that if you take 72 divided by an interest rate, you can determine how many years it takes to double your money.
Okay, now, a show of hands, how many people, just by that description, do you think the entire population of the United States would be able to understand that and be able to retire and be financially independent by the time they get to 65 without relying on Social Security?
I think they need some examples.
So they need to know and get more educated, and they might have some fear and they might not trust this gentleman yet because they haven't done a one-to-one yet. So there's lots of other variables, but I'm Paul with Primerica, and that rule of 72 and a whole lot more is what I help people with. Okay, on that note, I've tabulated all of the clapping for our number one best educational nugget between Marty and Patrick and Sheree, Sarah and Bruce and Lynn, and I have tabulated the winner. You want to know what it is? All right, drum roll, please. It is... You all win dinner tonight between 4 and 7. Verizon and Alignable, they're paying for dinner for all of you. All you have to do is be able to get online to the Alignable website and register, and dinner will be paid by Verizon and Alignable. Of course, you have to show up, otherwise you won't be able to eat the dinner because it's no doggy bags here. You'll get an educational nugget. You'll get a presenter. You'll get Verizon talking. You'll get Alignable talking. They might let me talk for a little bit. And it's great networking. And it's on Clematis and West Palm Beach. So don't forget to sign up on Alignable. Just text me, by the way, if you're interested in going. I'll send you the RSVP link. Text me at 561-302-0051. That's 561-302-0051. It's the Advanced James Bond for small businesses and entrepreneurs. And as a last thought for today's meeting, tell me in 10 seconds, Bruce, did you love or hate the meeting? Love it or list it? Tell us your thoughts on today's meeting.
Well,
what'd you learn too? Anything?
I loved it as always. You're a great host. And did I learn anything? Yeah, I think from what we're doing with the introductions, that I think one thing that we're going to need to focus on is making sure that we don't try to sell our product or service in an introduction. Just try to show people how you might be able to help them more generically.
Good point as well. Let's go to Lynn. If you could tell us 10 seconds, what did you learn from today's meeting, or your thoughts, or what you like or hate it or love it or list it?
Well, number one, I learned a great deal about taxes and people who scam and all the wonderful ways of doing things. And then having the ability to do a one-on-one quasi was a wonderful thing as well.
So everybody now knows in all of North America how to do a one-on-one or improve on that. And of course, that was only 5 or 7 minutes. So thank you, Lynn. What did you learn today, Sheree?
Well, I thought it was a great meeting as always.
Love it or list it?
Well, I love it. A great meeting as always. And a lot of it has to do with the people that show up, and your energy gets us all, or at least me, in the right frame of mind to go on with the day. One thing I can say is I can't say that these meetings are boring.
Excellent. One actually interesting business person, Dan Kennedy, said, never in your marketing put boring in it. And there are some people's literature is boring, but hopefully the meetings are not. Let's go to Patrick. 10 seconds. Love it or list it. What'd you like about the meeting? Did you learn anything?
Well, I thought Sheree's presentation was excellent on the 12 scams that typically people-
Sheree, you mean?
Sheree.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's what it said.
yeah. Oh, I thought he said Sarah. Sorry.
I thought Sheree's presentation was excellent on the 12 scams that are out there on TikTok relative to IRS scamming, and I like to hear more about that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing. Love it or list it, Marty. What'd you like about the meeting? You learn anything?
I enjoyed listening to Sheree do the Dirty Dozen. I also enjoyed just getting to know the people that are sitting in this room with me now.
Excellent. I appreciate that, Marty. We all appreciate that. And Sarah, my favorite better half. Did you learn anything from today's meeting? Love it or list
I
it.
did. I learned a lot from Sheree. Great presentation. And I think you're doing an excellent job making this very energetic.
Thank you for pointing that out. And we are almost at the 5 minutes before the end of the meeting. If I have any time left, there are some guests that come to our meeting and they're looking at their clock every 5 seconds going, when is this meeting going to end? When are we going to get to my own presentation? Because we're all thinking about me. And at the last 5 minutes, I always say that if you have to go, you have to go. But the big deal is you could take a moment to find somebody in the room. We know each other for the most part after almost a year or so. But at that rate, if you want to still meet with somebody again, do another one-to-one, which is always a great thing to continue the relationship, because we're not into transactions here. We're into long-term relationships, because we are as a good marketer once told me, we are not a networking group. If you thought we were a networking group, you're in the wrong place from now on for the next 5 years. You are in a referral team. And I'm not going to define it, but think about what referral team is. And now I know when you interview for a job when you were in college, and the first interviewer said, "Are you a team player?" And now I know what that really means. And just think about what it means to be a team player. And thank you guys all for being here today. You can all clap now.